But then again, if I got pen on it, right, and I did use it, it might be really nice. Be a creative mess, wouldn't it?
A creative mess, that's what it's going to be.
Okay, good. Make you a mask. Paint your own mask.
Oh, make the mask the actual canvas. Got you.
Yeah, very good. It's here, this is painted somewhere. Don't really do it. Do it on.
Oh.
This is really good.
What about using bits of your cocktail shaker? Because I think that this virus has been a bit of a cocktail that none of us were expecting.
Yeah.
And the mask that's supposed to protect us from the toxic cocktail of the virus might be quite a nice thing to use your cocktail shaker for. See if it would make any marks.
Yeah, well, I don't think the holes are going to make anything. Just so I got some paint on my top.
Yeah, I think I'm being a bit messier than usual today. That's saying something, Claire.
You know, I thought to myself, oh God, here we go. Am I going to get messy? But then when I tried my face paints out the other day, when I was doing my TikTok thing, I didn't really get messy.
No.
Which was strange, because normally I would get messy. I'll get messy with paints. Maybe I'm more careful these days. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe you're just a bit more aware of your materials.
It's like when I was making the other week. I got this for Christmas. I got off my nephew and his girlfriend. I got what's it called? I got a brownie maker kit.
Ooh,
oh, nice.
And I thought to myself, how am I going to do that? You know, because that's not working.
Dunno.
Am I gonna do that on my own? Because I need somebody with me to help me with it. And when I looked at the date, it was I had to do it by the 2nd of March. So I thought, right, well, my friend will probably be able to come round by then. Anyway, it got to 2nd March and you know, we're still in lockdown. So I thought it needs to be made. So I rang my niece, and she said that she would help me do it, So the other Wednesday, when it was the day, she rang me. Well, she FaceTimed me, and so I had the pop in my kitchen, and we did it together.
Oh, brilliant!
Me through it. So she would help me. But with that, I thought I'm going to make a really big mess here because it's like chocolate powder and everything, you know. But I didn't. I was just surprised that I didn't make a mess or anything. Well, I'm going to try this. I don't know if it works, but I'm going to try it.
So what have you put on there? I was watching you pour in something in.
Yeah, well, I've put some of my gold paint into there, look. It looks like dog poo.
It does look like dog poo.
Yeah. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put it through the holes and see if it goes on to the card or whatever. I don't think it will, but here you go. You never know till you do it, do you?
Never know till you try.
I don't think it will, because it's not even going through the holes. Huh?
Is any of it making it onto the paper? Nope.
No. Oh.
You need a little bit more liquid.
Maybe I might need a bit of water. Full trail never in it, really. I just thought this might work, but I don't think it is. No, not working. Well, it is making some kind of mark on the paper, on the card, but not really. I want it to.
Applaud your experimentation, Claire.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it?
Oh, I've just remembered, I've got an earbud. Yes! I forgot about you.
Yeah, I thought I had some of them, but I don't.
I want colour. What do you think? Yes.
Well, it's coming through the holes, but it wasn't coming on paper. Oh, that looks for the. You know, this gold paint looks good in the bottle, but it doesn't look good on paper. It looks like something the dog did.
I quite often find that with gold, actually. Do you ever use gold leaf, Claire?
No, I don't really paint much.
Right.
I'm actually making the lid.
What I might do as well is use some of my newsprint that I've got. I've got a long roll, Claire, of newsprint that I can use.
Yeah, good.
I got it from Wilco, actually. It was £2.50.
What do you mean by newsprint? Newspaper?
That kind of material, yeah. It's just a plain roll of paper, but it's really kind of thin thin paper to work with. And I got it from Wilko for £2.50. 10 metres as well, which isn't too bad, I don't think. Yeah. It's quite a thin material, Claire, actually, so really, really good to work on.
I just thought, I mean, it's probably not what you're talking about, but you could maybe get a roll of wallpaper from Wilco.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's like, what's the word? They're like wallpapers that the embossed wallpaper.
Oh,
like Anaglypta.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yes, I'd wondered about. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be quite interesting. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Cool.
I need different surfaces and different things to work with. So at the moment, I'm thinking of some sort of collage background. So this week, I'm going to be making, hopefully, like a collage background of envelopes and different things that I've been collecting. Or maybe newspapers could be quite a nice material to work with as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe some magazines or something, something that I guess has a history as well, rather than just using card as well.
That would be quite good to make a collage background from recycled things, from found things.
Found kind of materials.
You might find some found rubbish on your journeys. Let's have a look at this one.
I'll show you this one here.
Oh, it's so good. I love that orange. I love that orange swirl in there.
For this kind of bit.
Vortex is brilliant.
Some rings from my tin can. Oh, that's brilliant, Claire. I like the purple mark that you've got at the bottom from the foam shapes. It's come out well.
Yeah, that was from the this. From that. I don't know what else to use.
See if we were all together and we'd come together for a workshop with our own wee bits and pieces. We could
really
share
good.
each other's. I could say to you, try this, Claire. It's brilliant. Have a wee shot of my knitting.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I'm going to use some of my glitter shakers.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
exciting.
A bit of glue.
They're very different colours. I just want some different colours on my snake. But I don't have the only paints I've got are the watercolours, and not really like the watercolours. No, that's broken. The lids are some of the lids are broken.
Oh, is that the glitter that you've got, Claire?
No. And green and blue.
Do you know what else I find interesting about this kind of way of working, Holly, is when I start off and I put some marks down and I'm like, oh my, that's lovely, I'm really enjoying that. Yeah. And then as the work progresses and I've added more layers and I've added more colours and there's more shapes, that core shape that I thought was central is still central, but it's not as essential as I thought it was. Yeah, it's kind of lost and it's become a background framework rather than the forefront of it. And I guess a set of eyes that didn't see it being built up wouldn't necessarily see that particular shape that I think is fundamental as that
sure.
important to the whole thing.
No, I think the layering of the work is really interesting. You know, over time, you're adding, you know, gradually more materials, using different objects, and like you said before, you know, the things that appear on the page within that moment of time gradually become more integrated in the piece because they don't stand out as well as they did when you were doing it. If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And I really like that.
No, I quite like the abstract look of the work as well. Obviously, for me, it's more about the activity and the experimentation. But overall, you know, once you've finished a piece and you start a new one, just looking at it and seeing the different, you know, objects and the journey that you've gone on to create that work again is also really, really interesting.
Yeah. And I find myself, and honestly, Holly, this has never happened to me. I found myself wanting to show these to people, right? Because art's been a very kind of quite a personal process for me in terms of, I don't even bother whether I finish a piece most of the time. You know, it's okay by me.
Yeah.
Whereas I find myself wanting to show these people and say, look, I made this mark with this, and this mark with this, and this mark with this.
No, it's really interesting, I think, you know, developing, you know, different ways to create different marks, and I guess over time our understanding with these objects that we're using as well.
There is one.
And I think as well, you know, depending on how long you've been doing it for, and within these workshops, each week you begin to get more and more confident with the objects and the materials that you're using as well, which is really interesting. Because I think this activity at first, if you tell someone to be, you know, free and expressive with any of the objects, they can be like, well, what am I creating? And I tend to find that people try and create something with the objects. They want it to look like something. And that, again, is a really interesting approach, you know, in terms of how people interpret the objects and the task, I guess. You know, the task is
and the task. I should send you the first piece that I did with you all those weeks ago, and I found it just that very thing very difficult just to do marks, and what I ended up doing was they're abstract, but they are images of cranes, they are images of trees, they are images of birds, and you know, and it took me a little while to kind of go, don't need to be literal, I can be free.
Yeah, definitely.
Free to do whatever I want.
Now, I think it is really interesting though when you start doing a new technique or a new process, just keeping each piece that you've done as some sort of documentation, and then when you look back at it after, you can kind of have a better understanding of it, and you can be like, oh, I felt more confident with the materials there, or I was trying to do that here, and you can gradually piece together your own journey, I guess, with the activity, which is, again, another interesting, I guess, approach for
Do you ever go back to a piece?
Oh, that's a good question. I have done a few times. I don't tend to do it, but there have been a few times where I've looked at something and thought that's got too much white space on it, or I haven't you know, covered the piece. And for me, when I do something, I look at the centre and all four corners, and I'm like, it looks a bit bare there, and I get drawn to the white space, and I want to fill it. So yeah, sometimes I have gone back to pieces, but I do tend not to. But there have been times where I have done that. Yeah.
Oh my God, I feel like an artist. I've just done the cobweb world.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Look at that.
Let's have a look.
I love that. I love that.
I like the different colours that you've got on there as well. They're very pastely as well, which is quite nice.
Do you tend towards more gentle colours, Claire?
I don't. I like reds and purple and stuff like that. I like bright colours.
You like bright colours? Oh, brilliant.
Like the colour, like red that I've got on there.
Right. I'm just going to wash my hands in between
That's
the next
fine.
piece. I might get myself a coffee as well.
No, I'm the same as you, Claire. I get drawn to like bright colours and, you know, making abstract pieces, and I always find myself working on, you know, a large surface or a large piece of card, and I think the bigger the piece, the kind of larger the gestures, you know, that you can make with these materials. You know, I quite like making quite large and expressive marks as well.
Yeah, it's good.
But not only that, it's quite interesting.
I don't have any.
I've just noticed you're doing some printing as well, like another like printmaking technique as well, which is interesting. You know, printing with the objects that you're using.
That's pretty good, actually. Have you tried yellow and purple together? It's quite nice.
Yeah, I've tried quite a few different colours, you know, in one work, but I haven't really tried mixing them. But maybe if you try and apply some different colours to the page, then instantly it starts to build up, and it looks really, you know, vibrant, really bright and abstract. So yeah, no, that could be something that you could maybe experiment and try for sure.
I like doing the painting with the cobweb balls.
Oh, you do? Yeah,
yeah, it's really good.
No, they are fun to use.
So I'm very excitable.
Now, I think it's always exciting when you get some sort of like new object, or you find a new object to use and everything. The kind of unknown in terms of what mark it's going to create, and the suspense of that is, I guess, all part of the experience of the activity and everything. And not only that, before you start mark making, you've got the process of the activity of collecting the objects that you're going to use. So again, the experience of collecting the objects and the history of those objects, which is something that we were talking about in last week's workshop, again is, I guess, really interesting. You know, if you find, I don't know, like for instance, a toothbrush at home, the history of that material, you know, from the house and the surrounding that it's in, and then where it's come from, so like the supermarket, and then the material that is being used, again, is quite interesting.
Mm. He went under if it does anything. Oh, made some lines.
Oh, that's interesting.
I've just made some lines of mask.
You've made some lines of the mask, yeah. Now that's really cool, actually, the different kind of like lines and directions that it creates as well, which is really fun.
Put some glitter on it with glue.
Yeah. Are you enjoying the activity then, Claire? Is it giving you some new ideas?
Yeah, it's good. It's good fun. I'm enjoying it. It's good fun. I didn't think painting was this much fun.
No, for me, when I've done painting before, I've often been, I guess, put off by the fact that I thought my understanding of painting was you've got to do a painting of something. It's got to look like something. And that's kind of what put me off, what's put me off painting in the past, because I've always had this understanding of it having to look like something, but it doesn't. Anything really, as soon as you start using painting in whatever way, that is a painting, or that is a mark making piece, or that is a performance.
Yeah, I suppose it is, isn't it, in a way?
And I guess you could think about it this way, where we're all in our different spaces, our different environments, and we are performing with the object. So the painting is the outcome, but the process is the performance. So again, there's different ways of looking and thinking about what you're making as well, which is interesting.
Look, all creativity is the same, even if it's performance, acting performance, or painting, or making something like designing clothes or something. It's all the same thing, and it's all classed under art.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Even though I'm not really an artist like this. I'm an actor. I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's quite a nice activity that anyone can really participate in as well. Anyone can kind of join in, and it's a bit of fun, and it's a social experience, and there's not too much pressure on it needing to be anything or look like anything. I think that's the kind of freedom of the process and the activity that we're doing as well, which is quite nice. It's something for anyone. Anyone can really join in, which again is really interesting as well.
It's actually nice and therapeutic, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Doing something like this.
There's not too much pressure on it needing to be anything, which is something that I quite like about this.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it kind of challenges our understanding of art and what it should look like as well, because like I was saying before, Claire, painting has always been something that I've thought when I was younger it has to look like something, and I think this kind of activity takes you back to the idea of when you're younger and playing with materials, and the playfulness of art and the playfulness of the process. Whereas I think when you get older and, I don't know, you're at school, you've got to make a painting, and you make a painting of something, and it's got to look like something. And there's pressure for it needing to be realistic and needing to look, I guess, I'm not going to say perfect, but look good. Whereas I think this gets you thinking about the experimental side of it, and the idea that anything can be art, and I think that's what makes it fun. It makes it an enjoyable process because there's not too much pressure for it needing to look like anything at the end.
It's interesting how society values art, though, and images, and what's good art and what's fine art and what's
That's good.
No,
I've just paid the bit of my mask.
Ooh, I bet the lines
just printed
make some
it on
nice
there.
marks, Claire. Oh, I like that.
I can see that.
I can see the lines.
I can see
I
the
can
lines
see the.
of the
Oh my
lines,
gosh, I love the way that the lines are going straight into your cotton wool.
Yeah, it's good to know.
Yeah.
I think it's quite
There's something underwater about that.
I think it's quite interesting as well to maybe do different marks and
it is underwater because it's watercolour.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I like what you did there, Claire. I like it.
I've been avoiding my watercolours with this process. I've really stuck with acrylics. Maybe I should play around with the watercolors some.
You know, when the works opens again, I'm gonna actually buy some more of these. Right.
Yeah. Are they quite good?
Yeah.
They're ready made, aren't they?
Yeah, because you just put them into somewhere like that, and then you just use your paintbrush or whatever. I've just stuck a half of it.
Nice.
I don't know what I'm saying now.
I'm starting a different colour palette, and I don't know whether to clean my tools or whether to just take whatever is residue into this next colour palette.
You know, I saw on TikTok yesterday, there was this woman, and she was making floating paintings.
Making what?
Floating paintings. And what she did was she got a bowl of water. She got a bowl of water, not very deep water, but a bowl of water. And and then she got some chalk, got some different colour chalk, and she was just shaving the chalk off with the knife into the bowl, and she had different colours of chalk. She was shaving into the water, and then what she did is she got a piece of card, just laid the card on top of the water, and just peeled it off, and then it were all these different colours.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that's almost like ink print.
Yeah.
But she called it floating paintings.
Oh, that's so nice.
But nice. I'd try that, couldn't I? I love chalk. Chalk taste. I love it.
I'm envious your chalk. As I say, I've not actually been able to find chalk anywhere in any of the Poundlands or the local shops that are open.
The way it's this. Yeah, but you have it the way it's this, don't you? Oh, I can't say that. Blue. Oh. But the only thing is it breaks easily. Chalk break.
I've got some pastel pencils my dad gave me, and I'm too heavy-handed with them. I just break them all the time. Just press too hard, and oh no, I've not got the delicate touch.
No, wow, that's nice. I'm putting blue crayon, my blue chalk, on my cotton wool thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on the yellow and purple cotton wool. And it's really nice. Look at that.
Oh.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Such good techniques. Such great techniques.
Ah.
And you started off going, oh, I've nothing to work with.
It's funny.
Here.
Funny what you find. Because you look at things and you think, oh, that won't do much. But then when you use it, you think, wow, can't believe what it's done.
Yeah.
Oh, Holly, how was your presentation?
Oh, it was really good, Claire. Oh yeah, because you weren't here last week, were you? Because of your audition. No, it went really well. It was really good. It lasted because we were in a group. It actually lasted for over 2 hours.
Wow.
But no, it went really good. I got some really good feedback, and again, new ideas and different ways to kind of develop my stuff.
That's good.
But yeah, definitely. And this afternoon, I'm gonna do some more like notes for like different ideas, because from these workshops I tend to get a lot of ideas, generating around in my head and different ways to kind of take the project. So again, I think sometimes a system in terms of like planning is quite good, even with it being such an experimental project where you can take it in different directions. Sometimes a bit of kind of focus is quite handy.
It's always good when things go to plan, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Or something like that, yeah.
So Liz that was on last week, Holly, did you say that she is at the uni, as in studying at uni, or does she work at the uni?
She works there. Yeah, she works there.
She works there. Is she a lecturer?
She is, yes, yeah. We've only had her like once this year. Normally she does the final year, so I should imagine that I will have her next year, which is good.
How nice!
Which is really interesting.
Already got a bit of a relationship with her then. That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
So are you not using them now?
When we're going back actually, Claire, on the 19th of April. Each level.
I've got my hair appointment.
You got a hair appointment? I've got one at the end of April actually. I've booked mine in already. But we're going back on the 19th, and then we've got a 3-week rotation, so 1 week in for each level, just so we're not all in at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So we've got the equivalent of 3 weeks until we go back. You what? Sorry, Claire.
Am I
Are you using a shot glass?
Because I've got that like gold poo in me. I'm gonna sprinkle some green.
Oh. Hey, you could use your PVA glue and maybe
pink into it and see what that comes out like.
Yeah. What you could do is maybe mix some glitter with the PVA glue and then create some different marks with that as well. Or maybe the kind of metallic gold paint that you've got, you could maybe create some rings using the shot glass and create some different circles around the piece as well.
That's horrible.
Do you know what I forget to do sometimes as well? Is to turn something the other way around. The way you hold it in your hand makes a big difference as to the mark that you make.
Yes.
No, and every now and again I'm like, what happens if I turn it that way, or I turn it inside out or back to front.
That has often kind of interested me as well, you know, when you're doing this kind of activity and you're creating it like on different angles and different kind of the orientation of the piece is, you know, different each time. It's often interesting me, you know, which way, if someone asked you which way is the top and which is the bottom, you know,
yes.
and, you know, how do you look at this work, you know?
Did you notice on some of the pieces I was like, it goes this way up?
Yeah, I noticed, yeah, definitely.
And there was a bit of me going, do you know what, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Holly doesn't need you to tell her which way to put this picture up. She'll put it up in the way that it works for her. And then I was like, no, it needs to go up this way.
No, I think it's interesting, you know, the way that, you know, the creator of the piece looks at it, and then the way that someone else could look at it as well is sometimes different, and again, really, really interesting to think about that.
And that's what Liz was talking about last week in terms of art as a therapy, art as a healing process, that ability to talk to people about what you're looking at and what you feel is being expressed and how that makes you feel. I'm so missing looking at art in company.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's nice just the experience of being able to go to a gallery, you know, and kind of be physically involved with that space. You know, it's you know, much more, you know, worthwhile than viewing something, you know, on the internet. You know, you can almost kind of see the textures and you can have like a really close relationship with the work. But then when you view something on the internet, you know, the brightness and there's so many different factors that can influence the appearance of the work and how you view the work as well. It's so much different than being in a physical kind of gallery space or gallery setting.
I've also been to a couple of Zoom lectures about art and the curation of art and who decides what we look at and who decides what is good. And one specifically last night, which was hugely inspiring and motivating in terms of thinking about this, was the decolonialization of art and how a lot of our European, Western, white-centered art is considered important and high and the way forward, when in fact it actually excludes a great deal of important, relevant and cultural art.
Yeah.
And who makes those decisions? Who decides what's important art? What makes it into our museums? See this piece that I've been working on? There's a brush and there's been netting and there's been a card. And I started off with a piece of blue background that I had created a couple of weeks ago, but it's all pretty linear. It's all pretty one-directional.
That's great.
And I don't know whether to spoil the flow of the direction or whether to just keep going in this kind of almost up and down fashion. There is some movement in the back because the initial piece was coloured differently.
Yeah. No, I think the angle of the marks and the direction of the piece is really interesting too. Now, depending on what kind of objects I use, you know, especially if I use like a comb or a palette knife or something, I always find that the marks look very uniform, you know, very precise. And then I often, after that, decide to then make it look more abstract in terms of the way I'm applying the kind of the paint or the material or whatever. And I tend to do that. because I do like the abstraction and the kind of the busyness of the work. It does interest me, the busyness of the pieces that have been created and the different marks in it. I also like the idea that when we're creating, we're kind of, with the help of the objects, bringing the work to life, because we're applying different layers and everything. And I always tend to look at this activity from a performance kind of point of view, because this is really how it stemmed, you know, from performative works and performing with originally just the body and materials, and then it's developed to using objects and then mark making in different textures. So I often tend to look at things like this from a performance kind of view, and then how that live event is then documented and the presentation of the work, which is quite interesting. You know, viewing something within a live kind of setting, what it means to view something in person versus online, and then what it means to view the video or view this workshop as an outsider after the event has happened. How does that make you feel, and what is your experience with the activity? Are you more involved or less involved? So again, really interesting and really kind of diverse activity, I think, in terms of my own interests as well as works that I've been creating in the past.
So when you do something outside and it's performance, would you record that?
Yes. Yeah, I would.
Yeah. And how do you work? Do you then collaborate with other artists, and that becomes their work as well as your work? How does
the first time I've really collaborated has been when I've been doing these kinds of workshops, whether they've been taught workshops or very informal and like a creative space like these ones. I was planning on actually doing a live painting event and with a group of artists and kind of collaborating with them in one space, but then obviously due to lockdown and COVID, that hasn't been possible. But that is actually what we were talking about, some sort of outdoor project with a group of people, a group of artists, or maybe different people that would just like to get involved. The idea of like a live painting event and working on such a big scale really does interest me as well. And the idea that there's different people and they can make different kind of artist decisions, and to an extent everyone is determining what the work looks like and the appearance of that. And again, the experience of being physically involved with different people in one space working on one thing, you know, the conversations that you can have, the interaction in whatever way, really does interest me. And yeah, that is what we were going to plan, but because of COVID it wasn't possible. Well, not yet anyway.
It'll come, Holly. It'll come.
No, I hope so. I do hope so, because it could be a really exciting project, and again, a new way to develop this kind of process of a workshop and a collaboration with the audience in whatever way.
And it's interesting because that kind of process, that kind of collaborative art work, then becomes in an environment like today, it becomes quite a political statement and quite a political movement, because we're not supposed to gather together, we're not supposed to be in close space with one another. So that notion of creating art together then it becomes like a bit of a a kind of counter culture, counter.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Apparently there was a group of students in Williams Park yesterday, and they were having a party.
Oh, really? Oh.
God, do you remember what they felt like?
Well, they're not supposed to do that, because you're supposed to only have a rule of 6 people, like you.
Yes, yeah.
And they didn't have any masks on, or they weren't such a distance.
It's very difficult, Claire. I mean, it's not difficult. We're not supposed to do it. End of. It's not that. That's it. Not difficult. But there's also a bit of me going, I'm 57 years old. I've been to my fair share of parties, and I've had my fair share of 18th and 21st and weddings and christenings and any goddamn reason, because it's Friday night or it's Halloween or it's whatever. And I feel for young people who are, just coming out there and getting on with it and being told, actually, you just need to put your whole party life on hold for an indefinite period of time. Yeah, I think that if I was 18 or 20 or 25, I would be breaking the rules by now, Claire.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've got partner.
No, I think it is.
I like partying, sometimes. Even though I'm like 44, but I do like partying. And I do go out at nights when I can do.
Mm-hmm.
I
am so missing being out with people, at gigs, and just missing. I'm missing so much with being with people, and like I say, I can afford to put my life on hold for a couple of years, Claire. I've been there, done that. However, that said, it is naughty. I'm not supposed to be doing it.
Yeah. You can see where they come from, though, can't you? But
right, I'm going to show you one of mine that I've done on some newsprint. Here we go. What do you think of this then?
Oh my word! Hold it up still.
I've cut it about 1.5 meters in length on here. I quite like the different colours and the kind of the motion of the marks that have been applied as well. The idea of like the movement and the journey from, I guess, one side of the piece to the other as well.
There's a kind of, oops, what just knocked over there. There's a kind of completeness to it. There's something about it feels held, Holly.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's me, applying the paint and feeling the need to cover each corner of the work. And I guess the lack of white space in comparison to the colour as well, I think is quite interesting as well for this piece, for sure.
Yeah, everything's there. It's almost like a set of cupped hands that's holding everything together. It's really pretty. I love the vibrancy of the yellow and the orange and the red. There seems like a kind of inner wisdom there, an inner strength, the core.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful. What do you use to get the kind of liney bits, the jaggy bits? By your left hand there. I'm pointing as if that makes a difference. Yeah. Opposite side to the turquoise, closest to you.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I use this comb here. Do you mean the line?
Ah, right. You've got a nice flat comb. Yes.
And then you can see, if I'm holding it up, you can see gradually all the colours kind of dripping
right together.
And I think
is that acrylics that you're using there?
It's ready mixed paint. So ready mixed paint, ready to use and everything. Which again kind of works really well. The kind of the fluidity of it. It works really well when kind of applying, it to the surface and the materials and everything. I think what's interesting as well, though, is for something like this, if you put a piece of, I don't know, card or something on the wall rather than working flat on a flat surface, if you put it on the wall...
You're cutting out it quite badly at the moment.
Okay.
So when you're working on something big like this...
Can you hear me now, Fiona?
Yes.
I was saying before, if, say, rather than working on a surface on the table, if you decide to take that surface or that material onto the wall, and then start applying gradually, because obviously the orientation and the location of it, gradually, like you've seen on my piece just now, the colours start to blend and drip and change over time, and the idea of the work changing state or changing